Salieron de San Isidro, procedentes de Tijuana, traían las llantas de carro repletas de hierba mala, era de Milo Varela.
I'm live already.
Y Camelia, la tejana. Pasaron por San Clemente, los paró la emigración, les pidió sus documentos, les dijo de dónde son, ella era de San Antonio. Una hembra de corazón. Una hembra sí quiere un hombre, por él puede dar la vida, pero hay que tener cuidado si esta hembra se siente herida, la traición es contrabando. Locosa y compartida. A Los Ángeles llegaron, a Hollywood se pasaron, en un callejón oscuro las cuatro llantas cambiaron.
Okay, so I guess that's it for the music for today. I don't know if you enjoy it like I do. I truly enjoy that music. I was born in Mexico, but have lived in Canada most of my life, and I think living in Mexico would just be great to do again. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on early. Serense, I'm guessing. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that word, but or your name. But nonetheless, I very much appreciate that you're here. And now the title is the same as it has been for the last few days: how to spread global wealth and generate free energy. All right, so today I want to talk about awareness. You know, we learn about awareness. Well, there's the word awareness, and then there's also another word that we also use, which we call consciousness. You know, these words, they are kind of very open-ended. They're kind of words that really can mean you know, there isn't really a how should we say, just saying the word awareness, well, it simply means what are you aware of, or how, you know, something that you don't know anything about, for instance. Well, then you don't have an awareness about that. Other things that you really know well, then your awareness about that is, you know, is very high. You really have a very clear understanding about it. Now, I'd like for us to I want us to understand what, like, how our mind relates with these kind of things. All right. If you practice something, like, I'm going to use an example that maybe it's, hopefully you'll understand it clearly. Back quite a number of years ago, when I was, in my early 20s or so, I practiced shooting elastic across the room to switch on the light or switch it off. And what I discovered after I got quite good at it, I discovered that I didn't have to look at all at how I was holding the rubber. All I had to do was look at where I wanted the rubber to go. Okay. And I could do it at any position. I didn't have to, I didn't have to aim or anything from any position. Like I could, turn my hands in a very different way and still hit the same thing. If you watch figure skating or ballerina, or we could pick almost any kind of sport that people, where they practice very much, and how to be very, very precise about something, and that they can get it right, just exactly right. We even from different angles and different different ways. Now, if you, I hope you understand what I'm saying, what I'm talking about. I'm talking about becoming very, very good at something, and that your mind is so good at it that you can navigate from many different angles and still achieve the exact same end goal. Uh, that is it's a training of your subconscious mind. All right. When we when we do when we practice at something, we can get very, very good at it. But here's what happens: as you get better at practicing something, you are trusting your subconscious mind more. You see, the thing is, you could have done it all along. You could have done it all along. It was never necessary to go so much to spend so much time practicing. The only thing that you really had to practice at is to trust your subconscious, and to fully understand, or fully just trust it and know that you can do it. Because that is where the practice, that's why the practice is so much. Now, the thing is that we practice on the exterior, where actually it happens on the interior, if that makes sense to you. When a person wants to get very good at selling, a very, very good salesperson, then you need to go inside. You need to convince your subconscious that you are very good. You need to convince your subconscious that you are very good at what you do. Now, at first, you might be quite clumsy. it might you might even feel like giving up because you seem to make so many mistakes. It just doesn't seem to go right. But if you keep at it, and if you keep convincing your subconscious, then it will guide you. Once you start trusting it, it will begin to guide you, and you will be able to achieve the objective that you're after, because you begin to trust. You begin to trust your subconscious mind. There's nothing in life that you could possibly want that your subconscious is not able to get you. In your life experiences. But I want to talk a little bit more about awareness. Awareness. What are you really aware of that is going on around you, that is going on around you, but also inside of you? Are you in touch with the energy that is emerging? There is an energy that is emerging on a global scale. By scale, I just simply mean everywhere. This is happening. For the past, well, it's actually thousands of years where there have always been rulers, there have always been hierarchies, there's always been kings and rulers that were dominating other people. Much slavery has been experienced by many people because of uh, extremists who, like, for instance, the Nazi um, movement in Germany, when Hitler was on, and the millions of people who ended up in labor camps, and who, many of them were killed. Then we also know about the communist movement in Russia, as it, for 70 years, Russia was communist, with very ruler that was so vicious and so how should we say, absolutely no mercy whatsoever. Just a cold-hearted killer, and he was a dictator of the country, large as that country is. Well, these are a few of the examples which we can draw from, where we can see how the energy at the time, the energy of terror and fear dominated the large parts of the world. And when these things were taking place, the fear went out much further than to just those few countries. It's been tried many times. Well, I say many, but at least a few times before, where a person got the idea, that they wanted to rule the entire world. And usually what they've done is they've done this with terror. That's what they do. They use terror to spread fear in people, and they use that to seize control. But But there's a different energy. You know, life, the life principle from which all things proceed, that is that life principle is within us, and it is a vibratory frequency that also exists at all times everywhere. But when it's weakened by the vibrations of fear, by the vibrations of terror, if those vibrations overcome and people succumb to fear, then it begins to the vibrations of terror are the dominating vibrations, and people pick up on that everywhere, and they become fearful. But there's something else emerging right now in this world, and I'm wondering if you know, how many people understand what is happening. You know, these volcanoes, these cracks in the ground, all of these things that are happening, they are part of that. They're all part of that energy. There's an expansion going on. Life is becoming stronger. The energy is becoming such that the hierarchies which have been in power for so long, they are losing their strength. They are losing their strength because there is another energy that is much more powerful, that is now emerging and is coming, and uh, people are tired of being scared. People are tired of being fearful and being the word terror has lost very much of its meaning, because there is a different energy that is taking place. And if you look around and start understanding, maybe you already do, which is awesome, which really is awesome. But if you aren't, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, then I would encourage you that you uh, just relax and get quiet and ask yourself a question. You know, ask yourself from your deep inside, ask yourself, what is happening? What is this energy? What is the life principle that is coming out and emerging, and people are connecting with it? And it's a wonderful thing, because it is taking the power away from these hierarchies that have been controlling the world. They are losing their power, and the power is being restored back to the people, back to the average person like you and me. The power is being handed back to us, folks. You know, technologies that have been suppressed for many years, all of this information is becoming available. There's very much information that has been, for many years, was hidden. Nobody had access to, and now it's coming forth. And that information is making changes in people's lives so fast. We are beginning to understand what we're here to do. We're beginning to understand that life is about joy. It is about peace. It is about fulfillment. It is not about serving some higher master who has control of all the energy. It is not about working all week to barely, barely get by. That's not what it's about, folks. Life isn't about that. It isn't. It isn't about being very, very busy and just so that you can go home and rest for a little bit and then go out and be very busy all day again. It's not about that. It's about life. It's about enjoying. It's about connecting. It's about connecting with the life principle, with nature. Uh, I know that for many years, people's minds were being controlled by churches, by by governments and churches and the education system and all of these things. But you know what? If a person gets too much of something, you lose it loses its flavor. Let's say you have let's say you maybe you're a person who really just loves pear pie. I'm just picking an example, I guess because I love pear pie. Okay, but now let's say you love pear pie. Okay, but now for 6 months in a row, that is all you get to eat. Just pear pie and more pear pie. And you know what? After a while, you get so tired of pear pie. You don't even want to touch it. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Back in 1975, when I came to Canada, I went to I bought Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's probably something you can relate to. It's in many places in the world. I don't know how much it is in other countries, but in Mexico where I grew up, we didn't have uh, Kentucky Fried Chicken, but here in Canada, I bought Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I seriously, I could have sworn that this was a recipe that was created in heaven and had been brought down to earth, uh, because eating it, I felt like I was in heaven. All right, it was so good. It was just and it wasn't expensive. It's still not really expensive. It's much cheaper than going to like Boston Pizza or and any of those more high more expensive restaurants. So it's a fairly cheap food, but it tastes good. But here's what happened. I liked it so much that I had it often. Again and again and again, I would have it. And all of a sudden, I I had enough. I didn't like it. I didn't like the smell. I wanted nothing to do with it. For about the space of 10 years, I never touched it. I'd had enough. I didn't like it. But so 10 years later, about or thereabouts, it may have been a bit more than 10. Matter of fact, I believe it was more than 10. When I, all of a sudden I craved it and I had some and now I like it. But it's not, I like it, but I don't have it too often. I don't want to do again what I did once before. But those are the things that is how life goes. If we have something too often, too much of it, we get tired of it, right? It is that way in almost anything. Um, you know, my dad, my my dad wasn't one to very easily acknowledge if you if you had a good idea or something. He wasn't one to give you a compliment. That's just not wasn't how he was. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean that he didn't appreciate or anything like that. It's just I think it was because of how he was brought up, and you know, him and we had this conversation one time. I don't remember what exactly the conversation was about, but what I remember was that he gave me a compliment. And that was, I think, the only compliment I ever got from him in life that I can remember. No, actually not. There's another time when I was a younger kid. I remember a compliment from him. But what this was, I said to him, I said, Dad, too much of a good thing is bad. And he thought for a bit and he said, John, he said, that is so true. And that stuck with me because that was it was quite something to get a word of compliment from him, right? But so what I would like what I would really like for us to understand is that we connect with this awareness that is spreading. Now, I know that the people who are in power, they are pulling every string they possibly can. They are scared about what's happening. They are scared because they do feel this energy, and they are very scared of it because they are losing control. Now, but for those of us who have always been dominated, and we have always been by terror and fear, we have been controlled. We've been getting too much of it. It has lost its effect. We are, uh, we no longer respond to this, to it the way we used to. We no longer respond to it. And it's because of this new energy that is emerging. You see, hadn't there been some of the very people who were the cause of all of this, some of their children have come forth and have opened up to the world what is going on behind the scenes. They have opened up. If you are familiar with the Wizard of Oz, Toto, he has went and he has pulled back the curtain. Okay, and now we see that there is no big Wizard of Oz. There's no big wizard. There's just a man playing tricks. That's all it is. You know, it's all smoke and mirrors. This false layer of, this central banking and this false monetary system, it's all fake. It's all fake. Now, a few weeks ago, I was trying to think. I was not trying to think. I was thinking. I was thinking, and I said to myself that there must be a way. There must be something that we can connect with the spreading of TBC, something that people want, something that practically everybody wants. And for about the space of, I don't know, 4 or 5 days or so, that I would, I would get quiet and I would think about this. And I said, there must be something. In the evening when I go to bed, I would fall asleep and think that, that there must be something, and it is coming to me. I will understand what it is, that we can connect with TBC in order to make spreading TBC easier and also meet another need at the same time. Okay. And one day I was out on a walk, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a thought popped into my mind. Free energy. I had been watching some videos about generating free energy. I had also been watching some videos and I had become aware of the smart meters, what they do, and also about free energy, but I never made this connection for how we could, spread TBC at the same time while we're doing this, while, that we can do this with the free energy units. And when that thought hit me, it was just like, it is almost like how should I say, a quantum movement, as it were. Because as soon as I saw that connection, there are millions, not only millions, but billions of people that are paying every month for their energy, for their electricity and heating bills. Well, what about taking away those heating bills? How about doing that for free? How about generating electricity that can easily heat the house and provide electricity for everything else you need? And take away the bills, have the energy for free. And how about all the people that can't even afford energy? And as I thought about that, that's such a perfect combination, because now all the people that don't have TBC yet, we can come along with this energy unit. We make these units, we make them in many countries at the same time, which becomes very decentralized, so that you can't really just go and we don't have just one central place where we build them, and we can have some government official show up at the door and shut you down, and then it's stopped. Instead, it'll be everywhere. It'll be everywhere. If one gets shut down, we haven't really lost anything. We just open up another one somewhere else. Okay. And as I thought about that, I thought that is such a great way we can go about this. We can really do this. This can be done. This can be done. And so this was in the morning when I was out on my walk. That same day in the evening, by the evening, I had created the website Myfree.energy. Because as soon as I got home, this was just a no-brainer to me. It was so clear that this is something we just need to do. Okay. And so I created that, and I'm trying to help people understand what my idea really was. My idea is this: those of us who have TBC, okay, we really want TBC to become the monetary system, to build this economy that will make this debt-based system obsolete. In doing that, we've got to spread TBC to very, very many people. Now, many people aren't going to be very interested, or aren't very interested in TBC. They just don't see it. They just don't see it. But they would really love to stop paying for energy. Many people who don't have energy, don't have access to energy, they would love to be able to have it. Can you see with me what we can achieve here? So I invite those who have TBC, I invite you to consider giving some fiat money to the program, to the free energy program. And as I stated on the page, it says right there that I will replace 100% of the fiat money with TBC. And I will do this because I have a lot of TBC. But it's fiat money that I need at the moment. Now, this is going to change. We know this. We know that over the next few years, or even just a couple of years, depending on how fast we move, we will be changing this. The economy is going to change, and TBC will be accepted for practically everything. Okay? But in order to speed up the process of having that, we need some fiat money to get moving on it, right? So I am grateful that some people have begun to donate. I really appreciate that. And as I said, for those of you who have TBC and understand how much benefit that can, that you can gain even more TBC by doing this, right? Because I replace the fiat money that you're going to give me. I will replace it with TBC for you. All right. So I am not asking you to go ahead and do this with just because I am asking you. What I am asking of you is just that you consider, let your heart guide you. Okay? Let your heart guide you. Understand what I am saying. I am a very, very much a believer of that we allow ourselves to be guided by the Spirit, by the power that is emerging right now. There is a verse in the Bible that I have often thought about. When I was, the years that I was in church and I was listening to messages and people would, preachers would preach about it. And, there were many things that to me never made much sense. Even when I heard, preachers expanding and explaining and stuff, many things still did not make very much sense to me. And one of these things is where the Bible says that ye shall no more say, know the Lord, for all shall know me. And they would talk about that and they try to explain it, but I never really registered when I heard that the way it was being explained. But the more I understand about this movement that is now happening, and for those of you who don't know what I mean, if you will take a look around, if you will go deep within inside, you will understand what I'm talking about, because there is a new energy that is emerging. This is worldwide. This is everywhere. And this is the reason that the hierarchy, the people that have been controlling and dominating the world for thousands of years, they are losing control. And it is because of this new energy that is coming, that is emerging. Okay? So what is this energy? What is it? What am I talking about? In the future, you will understand. There are people that are going to resist it. And I know that the people that are in power, the central banks and these people, they are very fearful of what's going on, because they feel this energy, because it is losing its potency, because there's a new energy emerging. And it's exactly this energy that I've been talking about, this new economy that I've been talking about. Folks, we are a lot further on our way than we might think of having our freedom back, okay? But I wouldn't be surprised. It it may look for a while yet as if though the you know, those people who have been in control for so long, because they are pulling every string they know, and so they are making it look very difficult. They don't want us to think that they are losing control. But this new energy that is being felt by many of us, I don't know if you feel it or not. I do. I feel it clearly. And it gives me very much peace. It gives me confidence. It gives me joy. And if you don't, if you aren't connected with it, um, then I encourage you to understand what's going on around us. What energy are we in? Because it is always energy. Okay, and all energy is frequency. Frequency is a vibration. That is everything. Everything is frequencies of vibration. We can understand this. We can tune into these frequencies. Now, a little bit earlier in this hangout, I was talking about the frequencies that have been used in times past, like massive frequencies of fear, like the Nazis and the communism and so on back in the 30s, and during those times, the First and Second World War and so on. Well, uh, now in this last war, we are actually in a Third World War right now. But this war is not with guns. It's not so much with guns and with and you know, of killing humans, nearly as much as it is a spiritual war. We are in a spiritual war at this time. Um, if you know the scriptures quite a bit, then you will likely know where Paul talks about our warfare is not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities in high places. Okay. Well, these powers, these principalities in high places are the so-called Illuminati. They are the so-called banking cartels. Okay. Those are the people that Paul was talking about. And they are, it's not just the physical terror that they were using. They were using spiritual, they were using frequencies of vibration. They were using a negative spiritual force to create all this negative energy and this fear on humanity. Okay. Well, now there is another spirit emerging. And it's this spirit that also is talked about in the Bible that says, ye shall no more say, know the Lord, for all shall know the Lord. All. What Lord? The Lord of peace, the Lord of life, the Lord of power, you know, peace, prosperity, shall be restored back to the people. This is the war we're fighting right now. This is the war we're fighting. So, to those of you, if you have fear about the future, anything, if you have any fear about the future, let me tell you, you can lay those fears to rest. You no longer need to fear, okay? No longer do that to yourself. You are seriously hurting yourself by living in fear. It's no longer necessary, okay? Because there is a bigger power. There is a spiritual power. You can tap into it and you can have peace, confidence, and poise. You can truly live a fulfilling life. Okay, so for those of you who are watching this and are wondering, how has this got anything to do with TBC? Well, here is what I can tell you how it does. First of all, let me say this. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing happens by accident. Ever. Nothing. Everything is exactly gauged out. Everything is by exact frequency, by exact sequence of either your negative thinking or your positive thinking. Everything that comes into your life, you have created. Now, so why did TBC come along? What happened? Why is this? TBC was created for one purpose. The person saw a big picture. The person that created it saw a big picture, because already by Bitcoin, when that came up, it struck fear to the central banking system, because now there was something in the world that people could use that they had no control of. It wasn't by accident, but Bitcoin really was a prototype. That's really what that was. It was a wonderful thing. It was a good trailblazer. But then the idea of TBC came along, and this was a person who saw the big picture. He saw that here is a powerful tool that we can create, and we can actually create so big and create a new economy with it. How do you think that TBC is becoming so powerful? Why is there way more TBC users already than Bitcoin? When a person gets a bright idea, an idea that can be widely adapted, those vibrations from the mind, they are available on a global scale, and many people feel those vibrations. They might have never heard of them, but they feel those vibrations. They might not have any idea what it is they're feeling, but they feel those vibrations. Every person who has been led to TBC have done so because they, in one way or another, connected with those vibrations, because they saw, they were able to see the what TBC could do for them, what it is, even though there was much misunderstanding as to, especially when the platform didn't stand up, right, to the then known need. These are very often the how should we say, when we embark on a journey, it very often happens that we have not sufficiently packed. Like, let's say you go on a camping trip, you're packing everything that you think you're going to need. Once you get out in the deep woods, you realize, whoa, I never thought about mosquito spray. Okay. So you realize, oh, wow, this is very, and you say to yourself, oh, how dumb of me. That is something I should have really thought about. Well, We do this because we don't read all of the vibrations that are involved. That is why. That is why these things happen. If we would go deep within and and read all of the vibrations included, then we wouldn't forget anything. But because we are, we use the rational mind more than we do the subconscious, therefore we forget things that we are going to need. If we would ask the subconscious, it would tell us every detail. There would nothing be missing, not a single thing, because the subconscious knows exactly. But we do use the rational mind mostly, and therefore we sometimes come up insufficient. All right. So that is what TBC has to do with this. TBC was not here by mistake. It's not just an idea, folks. It is not just an idea. It's here by divine order. Okay? It's here by divine order. And it's a wonderful, such a wonderful opportunity for all of us, because now we have a tool where we can really build on. There is so much that we can now build in the world, in the financial system, as it were, to replace everything with TBC. TBC isn't going to be the only one. There's going to be more abundance-based currencies. I don't know how many more, maybe only one or two, but I don't believe that TBC is going to be the only one. So, with that said, how about free energy? Well, how does that tie in? Well, I kind of did explain it, but free energy is a tool also that we can use. And this we can use on a massive scale. See, here's the thing. Those leeches, if we will, that have been in power and that find it so hard to lay down their sword, as it were, the power, to let go of ruling the world. They are having a very hard time about this. You know what they are mostly feeding on is the energy bills that we pay every month. The just just about on a global scale, all of those bills that are being paid from the energy, from like the natural resources. That's what they've been focusing on, feeding off of natural resources, things that we've got to have to make a living or to live, right? Well, listen, if we come along and give the world these things for free, we have taken their guns away. Do you understand what I'm saying? We can come along with TBC and challenge their system, maybe. But as long as we support them by paying those energy bills every month, they still remain very powerful. If we take that away, then they don't have a foot left to stand on. Seriously. Okay? So that is one of the reasons it is necessary that we move ahead with this, and the faster we do it, the more people we have that are helping in with this with it, the sooner we will be over with this war. The sooner we will have a peaceful life, a life that like humanity has never known before, ever. No, I shouldn't say ever, because I'm sure that there was a time when when people did have freedom. But for the past thousands of years, we've never seen a freedom like we're going to experience in the near future. And it is kind of up to us how fast we want to make that happen. What I'm really trying to do here is I'm trying to get more people to tap in to the energy that produces life, peace, and prosperity. That's really all it is. Once we tap into the energy, we will take all the right steps to bring that forward. Okay. All right. So for those of you who are in TBC and you have not, you haven't been sure about TBC, you don't know where it's going, you don't know. Well, let me just encourage you. Trust your subconscious mind. Trust, trust, trust. Be confident and know that it's good. You can move forward. You can go ahead. You can do you can get onto the new wallet. You can move on with your life. And especially if you really begin to tune in to follow your heart, you will live a wonderful life of peace and prosperity. All right. So information about what kind of a world we are living in and so on. There is very much information available on the blog.thebillioncoin.info. There is also information about exactly why TBC was created, what is our mission statement, and things like that. All of that is available. If you are not very sure about TBC and this, educate yourself. If you decide that you're going to go on Facebook and you're going to just go and find out what other people are saying, if that's how you go about things, you know what? That's the energy that you are vibrating on. Um, well, uh, I'm not here to try to take over your life in any way. You go ahead what you feel is necessary for you to do. If what your you know if your way of life, the things that you've been doing, if that hasn't been working out for you, well, maybe you need to change direction. Maybe you need to start thinking differently. You see, maybe you need to stop for a bit and just evaluate your decision making paradigm. Okay. And uh, and maybe it's time to get some advice. Maybe it's time to tune in to what is going on, right? So let me encourage you. Let's stop. Let's not be stagnant. Let's move forward, uh, but not without wisdom, not without understanding. It's funny how before 2009, if you would have asked me how about studying and understanding and all of that, you probably wouldn't have liked very much what I would have had to say. Because to me, studying and understanding and learning and all that stuff, I knew everything I needed to know. There was nothing for me to learn, and I certainly wasn't about to start studying. But that all changed. That all changed. Uh, Now, I do say that it is necessary that we are careful that the things that we study and understand, that they lead to peace, that they lead to prosperity for all. Not just how can we dominate everybody. That's there's no joy in that, not for the person doing it, nor for anybody else. But if we look at what can we do to enhance peace and prosperity for all, that's that's really when your soul will begin to be filled with peace and confidence. Okay, so thank you very much for those of you who have been watching and hanging out. It's been kind of long. How long did I work? Oh, 1 hour. Oh, okay. Well, then it has been a half hour for sure. All right. So, how do you pronounce that first word, the first name? You know? Serenes. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Lucy Brown as well. Thank you. And Margie Harder. Thank you for moderating. Uh, and so then we have Malco 88. Thank you also. I truly appreciate you being here. And where? Diana Gordon. Thank you also. I appreciate very much that you're here. And Blyce, or thank you also very much for hanging out with me here. I don't believe I have noticed you on my Hangout before. That's awesome. I truly appreciate. I always welcome newcomers very much. So welcome to my Hangout. It is my sincere hope and trust that I have been able to inspire you in some way today. Okay. So have a very, very wonderful and blessed day, all of you. And peace.